guys around the house. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use the clock and cooking functions on an Neff oven. So here we have the button with the two arrows, and by pushing this, we can work our way through the different clock and timer features on the oven. If you go to a feature like that and remove your finger from the button and do nothing for about 3 seconds, you'll see that the feature is removed from the oven and it will return back to the time on the clock. So before we use any of the features of the oven, we need to adjust the clock. And to do this, we push the button with two arrows until we get to the picture of the clock, then rotate this dial to the right, and that will increase the time. If you rotate it to the left, it will decrease the time. Obviously adjust this to the current time it is now, which in this case is 2:39, so I'll adjust it to that, let go, and as you'll see, all the features have disappeared again, and we're left with the current time. First of all, I'm going to show you the simple timer function, and this is basically an egg timer. You can set an amount of time, and when the time lapses, the oven will beep. To use this feature, just push the button with the two arrows once until the bell symbol comes up, and rotate this dial to the right to the required length of time. Now, one thing to note with this setting is that the more you increase the time, the larger the increments increase. So when you get to 1 hour, if you turn that to the right, you'll notice the increments are going up in 5 minutes, so it's slightly less accurate. Once you set the timer, you'll notice the display will go back to the clock and the symbol of the bell will be displayed in red by there. And just to show you this feature, I'm going to decrease the length of time down to 30 seconds, which is there. I'm now going to speed the video up just to show you how the oven will beep. 21, 20, 16, 15, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get to 0, and the oven beeps like that. To stop the oven beeping, just push the button with two arrows and it will stop, and the timer symbol is now gone. If you have a function set like this but you want to reset it because you no longer need it, just push the button until you get to the symbol you want. You'll see that's on 2 minutes 34. So if I just turn that back to the left down to 0, and that will cancel it out, and you'll notice by there the bell will now disappear. Now with that function, the oven literally beeps. It doesn't turn itself off. It is just a reminder. This next function is called cooking time, and in order to use this function we need to have the oven turned on. So for this example, I'm just going to turn it to the normal oven, and I'm going to turn the temperature to 180 degrees. So now press the button with two arrows until we get to that symbol with the line, an arrow and a line after it. Then rotate this dial to the right to the required length of cooking time. And you'll see there that the symbol remains lit up in red while this function is active. We can now leave that and the oven will turn itself off after 30 minutes. Again, if you want to cancel the function halfway through, just push this button until you get to that symbol, turn the dial to the left until we get to 0, and there, you'll notice that the symbol has now disappeared and that feature is no longer active. Then obviously we need to turn the oven back off if we no longer need it. This next feature is called end of operation, and again, to do this we need the oven turned on. So I'm just going to put it back to the standard oven and I'm going to set it again to 180 degrees. For this function we need to press this button until we get to the arrow with one line after it, rotate the dial to the right and set the time to the time that we want the oven to turn off. So if we want it to turn off at 3:30, we'll go to 15:30 and that's it. The oven will now turn off at 15:30. Once the end time function is set, you'll notice that the symbol displayed is the same as last time, and this is because the oven calculates the time between now and the end time. And so if we go to here, you'll see there's 40 minutes left. So this function is very similar to the previous function I showed you. They're just two different ways of setting it. If you want to reset this feature, just push this button until you get to the arrow with the line after it. Just wind the dial to the left, turning the time back to the current time, so it won't go any further, which is 2:53. Let go of the dial and you'll find that that symbol disappears. The function has now been cancelled. If we no longer need the oven, obviously turn the oven off. This next function is called preset operation, and for this feature we need the oven turned on again. So I'll just go back with the standard oven and I'll turn it back to 180 degrees. And for this feature we're going to use a combination of the two previous functions I showed you. So first of all we'll set the cooking time, and we do this by pushing this button until we get to the two lines with the arrow in between. Turn the dial to the right. So let's say we want our food to cook for 1 hour. So I'll set that to 1 hour, let go of the dial, and we'll notice that symbol is displayed. Now I'll go to the arrow with the line after it and set my end time. Now say I want my end time to be at 4:40, let go of the dial. That feature has now been set, and if you heard that click, that was the oven turning itself off. So what this feature has just allowed me to do is set my end cooking time, which I set for 4:40, but it allowed me to set the actual cooking time, which was 1 hour. So if you remove 1 hour from 4:40, that becomes 3:40. So in this scenario, the oven will turn itself on at 3:40, cook for 1 hour, and turn itself back off again at 4:40. Again, if we want to cancel this function halfway through, we just push this until we get to the feature that we want. Wind the time back until it won't go any further. And the feature is now cancelled, and you just heard the oven turn back on. If you no longer need the oven, just turn these dials off. So hopefully this video has been useful. For more DIY, how-to, household tips and product review, please watch my other videos and don't forget to subscribe. I've been Poused Around the House. Ta-ta, farewell.